So I told you a little bit about my background, how I grew up very poor, and how I had to beg my mom for me to play sports. So I was good in sports. It was kind of my outlet. I really enjoyed it. I mentioned I was the only brown spot in a lot of other people that are a lot lighter complected than me working at the city of Lubbock. Well, when I was younger, I was the lighter skinned person, and everybody else was black, and I was brown. And I played amongst my friends who were African American, and I was dumb enough to think I was good as they were, and I was in a lot of cases. I was very good in football and basketball, baseball, track, and that's all I did when I was little is just play outside with them. When I say them, my friends in the neighborhood, and they happened to all be African American because I lived on the east side of El Paso. I mean, excuse me, I'm thinking El Paso, the east side of Lubbock. So that really kind of has made me who I am. I remember giving a speech to a bunch of young people here in El Paso, and I said, "You've heard that story about baseball's been very, very good to me." And I said, "Well, football's been very, very good to me." And I said, "If it wasn't for football, I wouldn't be a city manager. If it wasn't for football, I wouldn't have finished my college degree or gotten a master's." I said, "If it wasn't for football, I wouldn't have met my wife and married her. So, football's been very, very good to me." And so I kind of made that joke with, I forget which baseball player said that, but I said that to these kids, and I told them all the things that I was able to do as a result of playing football. I was even able to save one of my best friends' life that I grew up with. Whenever he and I were 10 years old was the first time we met in YFL in Lubbock. His name's Alvin, and he hit me. He played on defense. He got up, and the coach said, because we were like pushing each other, and the coach said, "Y'all want to fight? You want to fight?" And bring boxing gloves. Anyway, he was a lot bigger than me, and he was a big, gentle giant. And I was like, "Yeah, I want to fight." And he was like, "No, coach, I don't want to fight." And so anyway, we were best friends ever since that time we met. Well, he and I went to college together and played football together. So about 2 years ago, he was going through a really bad time. He had divorced his wife, and he wanted to kill himself. So he called me, and I talked him out of it. So football has helped me save my best friend's life. So football has really been the cornerstone of who I am, in terms of giving me opportunity to even be in the military. Had I not hurt my knee, I wouldn't be in the military. So when you talked about the city secretary in Lubbock, who was married to my coach in high school, every time she'd see me, whether it was in high school, she'd tell me that I'd make a great city manager. I didn't know what a city manager did. I went off to college. Again, she'd see me at different events. She'd say the same thing. I tore my knee up. I went off to Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I came back after the deployment. She told me the same thing. So I got out in the early out program, and I was going to go work for a bank. I was actually interviewing with a bank, and that's what I was going to do. And I was thinking, I'd work my way up in the banking system. And she got me an interview at the city of Lubbock, and I got an interview, and I remember sitting across the desk from the city manager. His name was Larry Cunningham. And he said, "So what do you want to do?" I said, "Well," and keep in mind, I just got back from Desert Shield, Desert Storm, having 90 pounds on my back, out in the desert, sweating it up, 125 degrees, pretty bad conditions. So I come back, he's in an air-conditioned office. He's wearing a white shirt like you with a tie, buttoned down, drinking his coffee. It's pretty cold in there. It's air-conditioned. And so I just got back from Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and I'm interviewing for these jobs. And I interview with him, and he says, "What do you want to do, when you grow up? What do you have in mind?" I said, "Well, I think I want to do what you do. It doesn't look that hard." Exactly. If only I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have asked that. I wouldn't have said that stupid statement to him. Anyway, he encouraged me to get my master's. He says, "You have to go get your master's. You can't let that stop you." And I was a brash young man, and I was like, "Well, do you have one?" And he says, "Well, no." And I said, "Well, why do I need one?" He goes, "You need one," he said, "because you don't want to be told no in a job in the future because you don't have your master's." He said, "I wish I had my master's." So I got my master's because he told me to. And I remember seeing other people that had theirs, and I'm thinking, that guy, I'm as smart as that person. If that person can do it, I can do it too. And I tell my kids that now all the time. Look, that person is this. You can do that too. And so you have to motivate yourself. So I did. I motivated myself that way, and I started working there. And when I made working in a city competition like football, that's whenever I got good at what I'm doing. I made it a competition where I'm like, I want us to be the best. I want us to, whether it's the best at saving money, the best at bringing in new revenue, the best at bringing in things that we haven't had before. whether it's the best at doing strategic planning. And then we do a lot of benchmarking. We compare ourselves to other cities, and we compare ourselves to other organizations.